Welcome back, everyone, to Catching You. I'm your co host, Rusty Ham. In today's episode, Lacey asked me if she can do a solo cast. So I said, of course. And so she rocked it. Enjoy what she has to say. And this really has to pertain to the young girls out there. And I hope you get some good nuggets out of it. Take care, and we'll see you on the other side.
Hello, and welcome to Catching You, a dad and daughter softball journey. I'm Rusty, a dad who's been in the dugout and on the sidelines.
And I'm Lacie, the daughter whose journey through softball has been filled with incredible wins, tough losses, and so many lessons both on and off the field.
For the past 16 years, we've navigated the highs and lows of softball together, from the local fields to national tournaments and everything in between.
From the challenges of recruitment during COVID to the mental and emotional roller coaster that comes with being a student athlete, we'll be sharing the perspectives of both the parent and athlete and firsthand experience of the impact of sports on mental health and the importance of support from the sidelines. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Catching You podcast. I am your co-host, Lacie Ham, and today is going to be a solo podcast. So my dad is not going to be with me today. I'm just going to be talking with myself for however long I go to today. So first, I wanted to get to some questions from some listeners that we have on the podcast. We have Elizabeth and Zyla. The first question is, how many times per week during season did you pitch in 12U and 14U playing at PGF level? Okay, so 12U and 14U PGF level, I was pitching, I'd say 5 to 6 times per week. And each time I pitched was I was focusing on something different. One day could be a full bullpen, doing all my pitches, making sure they're moving, making sure they're placed well, and just dialing in all my pitches. Another day could be more of a speed day, maybe doing long toss or going as hard as I can off the mound to see how fast I can throw with just my regular fastball. And then some other days would just be maybe a few pitches like my curve or my screw and my changeup and my fastball. Like it just depends on what you want to work on that day and what you think specifically needs to be worked on. Say from your pitching coach, they are suggesting things that you work on. I would suggest working on those things at home, definitely multiple times a week, especially PGF level. Teams are much more competitive in PGF ball. So I definitely recommend 5 to 6 times a week. Give yourself 1 to 2 days off during the week to make sure your body gets rest. But especially heading into summer now for summer ball, travel ball players, it's a lot and it takes a toll on your body and you need to be prepared for that. So that's what I suggest. And then second question is, what's the number one piece of recruiting advice for a 16-year-old who's just starting the process? Number one piece of advice is to never give up. That would be my number one piece of advice. I'm going to be open here. I did not receive a single call on September 1st. Not one call. And it hurts. It definitely hurts just hearing your friends or your teammates saying, yeah, I got called at 12 a.m. from this coach and 1 a.m. from this coach and all this stuff on September 1st, which is the first day of junior year, or the first day of junior year you can get recruited or talk to college coaches. And I did not get a single call. So I had to put my head down and go to work. And that meant emails, that meant videos on Twitter, that meant trying to connect with coaches through my travel ball coaches, anything I could do. We had a recruiting coach for my team, and it's all about being persistent and just emailing every single week those schools that you are interested in and also schools that you have never even heard of. Do your research. There's schools out there that I've never heard of, but girls are so successful and those programs are so awesome. And you never really know unless you reach out and see what their program's about, and maybe it's just the right fit for you. And I do think that great things happen to people who work hard. and really put their head down and work. So when I was emailing, I'm doing all this stuff, an opportunity opened up at San Jose State, and it was just the perfect opportunity for me to take, and it came at the right time, and it didn't take a call on September 1st for me to do that. And yeah, you can play at the Division 1 level if as long as you never give up, you keep going with your emails, social media, all of that stuff. So just keep going. And you never know what opportunity might open up for you. So I am doing a social or a solo podcast today because I just ended my junior year at San Jose State, softball wise. I still have a few weeks left. I still have this week, next week, and then some finals that I need to take. So academically, not done yet. But softball, I am done for my junior year, which means that I officially only have 1 year left of playing softball ever, which is crazy to think about. And there's been so much that has gone into my softball career, and I have so many memories, good, bad, and ugly, as we've talked about with my head injury, of course. And it's very surreal. And this has been a long journey. And I don't think it's hit me all yet. I've thought about it this past season, which is I go through this season, and after this season, I'm officially a senior, and then senior year, and then I graduate, and then it's my last year playing softball. Some things I've been thinking about have been obviously this past season did not turn up how we wanted it to with my team. And obviously that's really sad. And people were asking me like how I felt about the season being over. And I couldn't really tell them because obviously I was upset about how our season went. I was even more upset about how I performed in some situations. And I was worried that I was taking all of this whole opportunity, this whole dream that I had of playing Division 1 college, taking it for granted. And I thought to myself that I really haven't taken it for granted. I have been really thankful for this opportunity to play Division 1 college. That was my dream all along since I was a little girl. And I get to play some of the most amazing teams. I've played some former teammates. I've had incredible moments throughout my career here at San Jose State. And I have 1 more year left to really leave a legacy here. And which carries on to like people asking me, Lacie, what do you want your legacy to be when you leave softball? Which is a really big question. And honestly, it's true when they tell you that you're not going to remember the wins, the losses, your stats, what your ERA is, what your batting average is, all of that stuff. You're only going to remember what that sport gave you and what you took from it. And what it's gave me has been friendship. It's given me so many life skills that I didn't know I could even have. Pretty much the basic ones like responsibility, hard work, dedication, also being dedicated to your academics because academics is huge when it comes to being recruited. Yeah, just so many life skills and that I could take into other places like when I go into the workplace and everything like that. So I've made tremendous growth as a person here in college, I feel like. And that's what I'm going to take away from playing this sport. I'm not going to look back when I'm married, have kids, and all that stuff. And they're going to ask me, I'm not going to think about what my ERA was. Like, that's not what makes me a great softball player, honestly. Yes, some of the most amazing pitchers in college history have very low ERAs and everything like that. But for me, especially being here at a school in the Mountain West, it shouldn't determine who I am as a person. And we've talked about how your sport does not determine what type or the person you are. It's just something you do. It's not who you are. You also you play a sport, you don't do a sport. You're not gonna go do softball, I'm going to go play softball. It's definitely been a little bit of a mindset shift for me. I do have a lot of passion for what I do in multiple areas, not just softball. So I we have mentioned before that I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to things, and I do definitely get that from softball. So that may be a con, maybe a pro. It doesn't We don't know yet, but yeah, it's been a long road, and I am really just going to remember what this sport has given me. And I want other girls listening to this who are playing softball, maybe another sport, that really cherish those little moments with your friends, with your teammates, with your coaches, with your family when you're on road trips, going to the championship in rec ball or travel ball, getting those medals, getting those trophies. Even when you don't get those medals, don't get those trophies, what did you do after those moments to come back and fight and be a champion the next one? It's definitely what you take from it instead of looking on it from a inside perspective. It's not about the ERA. It's really not. And it's all about the friendships I've made here. I have incredible friends I have made here in San Jose, and I never even knew that could be a thing for me. I never even knew where San Jose was on a map, probably my sophomore year of high school. And it's crazy how things turn out in people's lives. And it's just incredible, honestly. And going into my last year here, I'm trying to take more time to reflect and be in the present. A lot of people have told me to really just stay present in where you are right now and not really think about the future so much. And I do sometimes have a problem with that, honestly. I think about what's my life going to be like without softball? What am I going to do workout wise? I'm not going to have scheduled 7 a.m. lifts anymore. I'm not going to have scheduled 2.5 hour practices with my team anymore. And a lot of athletes get lost after not having that routine anymore. So that's something I've been thinking about a lot to myself as well. And career wise, like you're expected out of college to get a career. What's your next job gonna be? What, like, all this stuff, are all those questions being asked? And honestly, it's really hard to stay present when those questions are being asked to you. And I'm trying to stay present, and then all these the outside noise is trying to lead me off track and lead me down a road that I do not want to go down, especially for my senior year when I want to really enjoy the last few moments I have playing that sport and being in the circle. I never knew it would come so fast. It's a very hard thing to think about, but just trying to stay present. I have this whole summer to really get to work, and this fall is going to be an important fall. I've made some great connections on my team and have a lot of connections out here in San Jose, and I'm excited. I think I'm getting to the point where I'm excited for my senior year. I get to think about the last few classes I get to take, putting on that cap and gown, and getting my degree. And that's a huge accomplishment that I think is just so undermined sometimes, that it's expected of you to go to college, right out of high school, get that degree, go to work, all that stuff. But going back to staying in the present and just reflecting on all the hard work that you've had to do throughout this whole journey. And it's been a long road, and I'm really excited to see what happens my senior year. And I just want to talk about a few things that I've been thinking about. That's what more than being present, and some of the other things that are important going into, or even just thinking about while you're playing your sport, especially softball, since that is my expertise. But I think some of these things can go into other sports as well. So I have the importance of goals. So I think I've said before how important goal setting is. And the difference between my sophomore year and my junior year. So my sophomore year, after my freshman year ended, I had a list of goals that I wrote down and I hung up that I could see every single day. And my sophomore year, I didn't accomplish any of those goals. And that could be seen as a setback. It can be seen as in a very negative light. I'm like, I didn't accomplish any of my goals. That's terrible. But there are things, there's some goals in there that would I need to do something differently in order to achieve those goals. And my I think the difference between my sophomore year and my junior year, so my junior year, I actually got to check off 2 goals, which was pitcher of the week for the Mountain West and 4.0 my fall semester of school. So those were 2 goals that I had on my goal sheet that I got to check off this year, which is awesome. And I think the difference was I had my goals my sophomore year, and I was so hyper fixated on reaching them immediately that I was getting so angry at myself when week after week during season, I was not accomplishing them. And I started to really get down on myself and really think in a negative light about myself. And that can really harm your mental state as an athlete. You have these goals, you haven't accomplished them, you didn't accomplish them all season, and now you're like, "What can I do? What did I do wrong that I didn't do correctly to achieve those goals?" And then my junior year, I got my 4.0 in the fall, was my first one, and then I got pitcher of the week a few weeks into season, and I realize now that I wasn't so hyper fixated on those goals. And I think it's important to be gently reminded of those goals once in a while. But if they constantly are a part of your thoughts, just every single day, every minute, every hour, you're not going to leave room for yourself to give yourself grace. I thought about that a lot this year, was giving myself grace in moments where I did have a lot of trouble. And you don't reach a certain goal one time. All right. It's okay that I didn't reach that goal. What can I do differently? What little things do I need to change in order to reach that goal? Little by little, you can see a difference if you commit to something that you're going to do to reach that goal. So, for my 4.0 in the fall, I made a promise to myself that I would study at least a week before every exam. And that's consistent studying for maybe about 30 to 45 minutes of that certain class before that exam every single day for a week before said exam. And I did so much better than I have before in the previous years. And I got a 4.0. And I really thought that being committed to just a little thing pushed me to go a long way with my academics. And then for the pitcher of the week, I really thought about just staying loose and playing free and not putting so much pressure on myself. And that was a little mindset shift that I really had to think about going into my season that helped me get to that point. And for that weekend, it really worked for me. Did it work the rest of the season? I'm not really sure. I think I went through ups and downs with my mental throughout the whole season, which it took a toll on me for a little bit. But the positive thing is I checked off 2 goals off my goal sheet, and I'm excited for my senior year to check off more. And there's just going to be little changes. I'm not going to hyper fixate on them every single day. Little changes in my life that are going to propel me to achieve those goals. And yeah, that's what I have for goals, is not to really engulf yourself in trying to reach them immediately. It takes time and it takes just minor adjustments that can really be beneficial, and it takes reflection. It takes you sitting down, reflecting with yourself and being like, what do I need to do? What are some little things I can change to reach those goals? And then another thing I wanted to point out was I think more the mental side of being an athlete. Multiple times I've just felt like that my hard work these past so I started when I was 5. I'm 21, 15, 16, 16 years. 16 years of playing softball. I've had my moments when I'm out there performing after a bad game and I think to myself that my hard work has been for nothing. And that critic in your head, it can really just slap you in the face sometimes. And it really makes you feel down and makes you think that all the hard work you put in, all the blood, sweat, tears that you put into this thing that you're so passionate about, it's been for nothing. And honestly, I've had to take a long time to figure out that's not true. And honestly, my my very big dream when I was little was to play college softball. That was the dream. Every little girl dreams of going to UCLA, Oklahoma, Oregon, U of A, Pac-12, SEC, all those colleges. And don't get me wrong, so many girls are talented out there. They have incredible athleticism, they have incredible strength, and they know what it takes to get there. And obviously, I had a few setbacks through my journey, and it was hard for me to come to college and realize that there's going to be setbacks. You think once you get to senior year, you're like, and you commit to college, you're gonna be like, "Oh, this is all I've been dreaming of, blah, blah, blah." And then you get here and you think it's gonna be smooth sailing, you're gonna do great, you committed to a college that you just love, and you're in a competitive environment, all this stuff. And sometimes that's just not the case, especially with, like, certain games, certain weekends, and you think to yourself, "Maybe am I good enough to be here?" And what I wanna say is that there's a reason there's a reason for everything. There's a reason why I'm here at San Jose State. There's a reason why I play here. There's a reason why I got the opportunity to play Division I softball after such a horrific incident that I thought I would never be able to play softball again. And so I've back to reflecting. I've had to reflect for a while on that I'm making my younger self proud by just being here and just being present and in this very moment, in this playing Division I college, getting my degree, studying something that I'm so passionate about. And so I'm my hard work has not been for nothing. And any of you listening, your hard work is not for nothing. You just have to keep going. You can never, ever give up. And like I said about recruiting, like some girls are just put back with how much work goes into in the recruiting process. And if that is your dream and that's what you wanted to do since you were little and you want to go play college softball, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And when there's going to be opportunities that get taken away from you and coaches that say no and all this stuff, and you cannot give up. There's a program out there for you. And whether that's D1, D2, D3, NAIA, there's an opportunity for you to go there. And you just have to be persistent and find your home and find what fits for you. And there's a reason why you are where you are. And I think like good things happen, right? I said before, good things happen to people who work hard and don't give up. And so there's going to be opportunities that just don't work for you. Like even in the real world, when you get fired from it or not fired, but you interview for a job and they say no, or, you take a class and you have to drop it or something like that. And there's multiple areas in life where you're going to be put down, and you're going to have to stand back up. You're not going to stay on the ground. You have to stand back up because that's how life works and you need to keep moving. And like my grandma says it, keep plugging along. And that's you make yourself proud is what I'm trying to say. And whatever that means for you, whatever you have to do in order, whatever you think makes yourself proud or makes your little self proud, go out and do it. And yeah, just there's gonna be excuses here and there. The little critic in your head is gonna make excuses for why you shouldn't be doing something or why you don't wanna go out and pitch in your backyard by yourself or you don't wanna go hit on a tee. There's gonna be that little voice saying, "Oh, I don't want to. I could just lay in bed and watch a movie," or, "Yeah, I don't want to. I'm just really tired." Um, yeah. But how are you gonna make yourself proud by doing that or by listening to that critic? But obviously, listen to your body and listen to your mind, and if you need rest, and if you're pushing yourself too hard, your body's going to tell you, of course. Those are 2 things that I've really thought about recently is the importance of goals, but not over hyperfixating on it, and also making yourself proud, whether it's your current self or your past self, and what does it take for you to make yourself proud? And do those things that make yourself proud. And obviously, you wanna make the others around you proud. Obviously, I wanna make my parents proud and my coaches and my teammates and everyone around me. I wanna impress all of them. But at the end of the day, make yourself proud. And I just wanna end on that whoever's listening, like the younger girls that are playing softball or other sports, parents, we have a parent child podcast. Really make the most of it. Really make the most of it. I have 1 more year left. I've thought about all the road trips I went on with my family to Colorado, Oklahoma, Florida, Oregon, Arizona, Utah. Gosh, I've been everywhere. But really making the most of those moments and really making those trips, those tournaments, those games very memorable in in a positive way. And this goes for both the child and the parent. There's obviously going to be tournaments that don't work out in your favor and you guys go 0-2 or something like that. You guys don't qualify for PGF. But what I do remember about those tournaments is the fun I had with my teammates, the things I did with my family over those trips. When we lost in 10U nationals in Tennessee, we went on a trip as a family and we stayed in the mountains and we did all these cute, cool activities together. And that's one thing I'll always remember. And it was a softball tournament. And so those are the things I'll always remember is definitely, or staying in the hotel with your teammates and hanging out in the lobby with the parents and just all of those things. Making the most of those little moments is because it's all gonna end one day, you know? And so this is my last year that my family is going to watch me play and it's all coming to a wraps. And I just reflect on those tournaments that they got to come to or that they didn't get to go to or just all those little things, right? And just cherishing those memories that I have with them throughout my softball career. And just 1 more year of it is crazy, but wherever you are right now, 10U all the way to 18U, even in college, just really being where your feet are, okay? And then as an athlete, just to remember that you are not just a softball player, you are also a human being with real feelings and real emotions, and that can never be taken away from you. But also softball has made me the person I am today. So really just taking those little things that softball or any sport has given you and taking it into a positive light and just really not being consumed by all the practice and all that stuff that it can really consume you. And just really remembering what makes you and what you enjoy outside of softball as well, which I mean, now that I'm done with the season, I can do what I love, maybe hang out with my friends a little bit more or go out and connect with nature, whatever it is. Just finding those little things that you enjoy outside of your sport as well can really be a positive thing in your life that can. And honestly, I feel like I perform better when I feel like I'm not being all consumed by my sport. And it's important to, with it, like at practice, to really dial in and be locked in your, but after practice, you got class, you got some homework, just you cook yourself a meal and take those moments to not really think about and drain yourself of those softball thoughts. I've had to really come to terms with that and be like, I have other things to do. I can't be dwelling on my bullpen that I had this morning that wasn't so good. Just really finding those things that you love. If you need a break, just really take that time to yourself and find time for yourself to really take a break, mentally reset, and get back to work. All right. So that's all I got for you guys today. I'll catch you on the other side. Love you, Dad. I don't know what he's doing right now, but love you. Bye, guys.